How much are you willing to sacrifice for perfection? Have you ever given into your basest desires full force, even at the cost of your ideals and your values? Um, do you look really good in a set of heels? Then, folks, you might be here with the Emperor's Children today. Yes, the Emperor's Children here on Thursdays with Horus. Welcome back. Uh, just a lot going on hobby-wise. I finally stripped some models for the first time. I was really scared to do it, but it went really well. I've had this enormous hobby block of just needing black spray paint. We keep having like really on and off days here in Northeast Ohio for spray painting. Like we'll get like one and then it'll get cold again or it'll start raining again. And I finally got a can of black spray paint, which has been holding up a lot of my hobby. But that's good, moving into the summer with, lots of projects, lots of things being primed and all that good stuff. What's on your hobby table these days? Like leave a comment if you like, or, if you ever build your own list or like, have a really good game of Heresy, love to hear about it in the comments section always. But let's get into the Emperor's Children here today. We'll start out, we'll break it down into the little bit of the lore breakdown, then kind of the, how they play on the table, and then of course the list I built at the end here with a special character. The Emperor's Children were always one of the most attractive armies to me. I relate to them a lot. Hey, 2 years going sober these days. Hey, how's it going? So I understand kind of the desire and obsession side of Slaanesh, if you will. I've got actually a 40k Chaos Space Marine Slaanesh army. Haven't really updated it to the Emperor's Children side of things now in 40k, just because most of the units I had were still Chaos Space Marines that didn't translate over. But like, so it goes. So I'm just playing them as, Chaos Space Marines these days. I actually put together another list, which I don't have here today, but I'll pop it in the comments, which is just a Emperor's Children list, just everything that I have. And it's pretty cool. I actually had to like ally in a couple of demons to get the 2 demon princes going, which was pretty awesome. Demon princes of Rapturous Temptation, I believe, is their the Slaaneshi kind of factor. Gives you like you can buy Shrouded for your character, which is really good for a demon prince, I think. But that's not, that's going in a different direction. The Emperor's Children, lore-wise, they were the penultimate warriors, the what everyone looked up to, of the Astartes. They were perfect. Their strategies were perfect. Their armor was perfect. Their weapons were perfect. Just everything about them was perfect. They had so many compliances that they had under their belt because of like how well executed all of their plans were and things like that. And they were the only ones allowed to wear the Aquila of the Emperor. And take his name in their name, the Emperor's Children, which is one of the reasons they were at such a, the heights, and then such a giant fall. Fulgrim found like an alien blade, the Lair blade, on the planet of Lair while fighting the Lair. And it's kind of a demon weapon that had been influencing the Xenos, for years. And then he took it, of course, and started influencing him. And his fall, he started talking, he had like a painting of himself, and of course all this art and perfection, things like that. And it was a real picture of Dorian Gray situation where he's talking to this painting, you know what I mean? And he's actually really talking to the sword, and it's slowly twisting him towards corruption to Slaanesh. And it's pretty cool. The book I would recommend, Fulgrim, is great. Fulgrim takes place, there's kind of like 3 parts of the heresy before you get to the siege, which is like the 4th part. First you have the Crusade era, where it's like everything's kind of like, Ullanor and everything's happy and War Master Horus is here and stuff like that. And then you get to the Flashpoint. Flashpoint is where everyone kind of runs into chaos and where Istvan happens and like, suddenly we're open. And then part 3 is kind of like the second half of the heresy with the Unremembered Empire, Malek, just kind of all the stuff leading right up to the steps. It's like the stepping stones up to the Siege of Terra. The nice thing about Fulgrim is it takes place in the whole Crusade era and Flashpoint era. It's like everything that was going on kind of in the first trilogy, but through the Emperor's Children eyes. and then it takes you right up to Istvan 5. And it was actually the first time it had ever been written. It was like actually a plot twist that Fulgrim, spoiler, Fulgrim kills Ferrus Manus, decapitates him. Uh, so, you really see the complete collapse of the Legion through Fulgrim from like start to finish. And then, of course, after, they're almost like even more so than like the Death Guard, or I'd say even the Word Bearers, they like twist and mutate to chaos so fast, like faster than anyone, just because of using these they have psychosonic weapons they develop that everyone loves. And their kit in the book, they actually have two different kits. They have the Legion Astartes and they have the Heretic Astartes builds. And I'd say that I went with the Heretic Astartes. It's a little more confusing, and I decided to kind of roll into get out of my comfort zone and go into the thing that would took me a little bit more time to wrap my head around. But both kits are great. I'll run through and break down both of them because this is the Emperor's Children episode really quick. And then we'll go into the units, of course, seeing what I'm going to steal for my my Alpha Legion. Yeah, and I'll get into the list I made. The list is a little, I mean, like always, it includes all the big units, like all the specialty units, because I like, when I'm making these dream lists, just going for all of like the crazy Forge World units and stuff like that. They're a lot of fun. That's where like a lot of the character comes from for the different legions. So this list takes a lot of it, but I actually, for the first time, I think in any of these lists, I went really heavy into Saturnine. Because it bears the Aquila, you know what I mean? So I figured that these in full irony, like maybe Vulcan gifted all of this Saturnine stuff to Fulgrim first, being like, here, it bears the Emperor's sign, you should be the first to have it. And then of course, boom, here it is being used against them, down on Istvan or something like that. Or just, the other idea is that they just stole tons of suits of it from the dead salamanders after Istvan 5, But whatever the case, I got a lot of Saturnine in the list, but let's get into the kits first and foremost. The Legion Astartes, which kind of is how they used to operate in the former editions and how people are kind of used to, is really good. Fantastic, I think. The Legion Tactica gives you an initiative bonus when you charge. You know me and my charge bonuses. Anything you can do to get a charge bonus in this game, I think is phenomenal. And initiative is crazy. It just makes every single weapon strike faster than, as you should, as Emperor's Children. The Gambit gives you a +2 to your focus roll. Just first, it can only be used in the first face-off stage of the challenge phase, but just boom, just +2 on top of all your other bonuses. Their detachment is, none of it's prime slot, but it's a retinue, an elite, and 2 fast attack. Getting those retinue and elite slots and an auxiliary are always good, especially when they've got so many good units in their specialties, Finally, the advanced reaction's nuts. After step 3 of the charge phase, so that would be after volley fire and after the setup move. So this one can only be used if they haven't set up into you, just to keep in mind. But right before they go to roll their charge roll, you roll your own charge roll. And then if you can make it in, you count as having charged and they do not. So you get all your crazy bonuses and your bonus to initiative, and they do not get any of them. So being able to charge in your opponent's phase, awesome. Sorry to go through that one so quick, but like I said, I didn't build my list around this one today. So I just want to kind of get a slight quick breakdown, and I'll go into the inventory for both of them at the end after going through both these lists. Finally, the Legionis Hereticus, Emperor's Children. When they are the target of a shooting attack, you can choose to become stupefied. Stupefied is kind of like a status effect, but it's not. The first thing it says is that, models cannot gain status effects while they have this tactical status. You cannot get any tactical status. However, you fire all of your shooting attacks as snapshots, and you cannot declare reactions. So you're essentially stunned and suppressed, but you can still score objectives, which I think is a very big part that, and you also don't strike last in close combat. You also don't count as moving even when stationary. So I think overall it's much better than a tactical status. And to get on top of that, so just gonna break it down one last time, you cannot gain tactical statuses, you fire snapshots, you can't react, and then you also get Feel No Pain 6-up and +1 strength. Ooh, For a melee army, that is amazing. And the Feel No Pain works in the shooting phase that you took the shooting attacks from. Really good for it's a little gamey, but or not gamey. It's just a little confusing when you first get into it, but it's really good and very powerful. I think army wide having this. In the effects sub phase of the controlling player's end phase, you do test to get out of it. So if you pass your cool check, you're no longer stupefied. So it's not just on there forever and anything like that. And that's why I think it operates like a status effect would. Pretty cool, pretty interesting. Everything else they have is about operating around the stupefied. Their gambit gives you I like this one. This is very much like preening to your entourage and things like that, but you get double the outside support bonus that you normally would get in a challenge. So if it was if you had 10 guys and it would have been a +2, you actually end up getting a +4. Phenomenal. And then if you're stupefied, you get a further +1 to it. Pretty good, especially if you're going like big units to outnumber your opponents. The advanced reaction allows you to become stupefied when charged. So at the end of the step 2 of a charge declared by an active player, so this is even if they set up into you, but before any volley fire goes off, you can choose to become stupefied. So that in the ensuing melee, you get your +1 strength and your 6-up Feel No Pain. And then not being able to react and not being able to shoot, shooting only snapshots don't really affect you in melee. So solid one there. The detachment is crazy. It's absolutely bananas. You can only take it in 3,000 points. You must take Fulgrim Transfigured. So this is another Warlord detachment. This includes a Warlord slot, a Prime High Command slot, 2 more High Command slots, and a Command slot. So I see if you were making, just going Hero Hammer, having like just a unit of 3 Praetors along with, Fulgrim Transfigured in the army itself, like just bananas amounts of weapon skill, high weapon skill, high attacks, 2-up, 4-ups, tons of wounds. You'd probably be spending like almost like half of your army points on characters, but I think that you would do a lot of damage once you got into combat with that one. Okay, and then finally, what both the Legion Astartes and Legion Hereticus can take advantage of is the Armory. The Armory is cool. First off, you get 2 Sonic weapons that can be given to any Commander Champion subtype. The first one is Sonic Shriekers. People cannot react to your charges. Phenomenal. Shuts down Overwatch. Shuts down, any special, charge reaction they might have from... I think that's really good for 15 points for a model. And then if one unit has it, if one model has it in the unit, the entire army gets it. So pretty crucial on that one. Slamming that on your elite slot, it's pretty cool. It keeps them a little safer, especially from the Overwatch fire. The second one, the Sonic Lance, is it's like I kind of see what it's about. It's a template weapon, but it's only strength 2, AP 5, and it has breaching 6-up though. So on a 6-up, you're getting AP 2. It literally, if you're going into Legionaries or Terminators, you're looking for 6s to wound, and I think that after that you can't go. It can't hit strength toughness 6. So pretty much just Legionaries and Terminators. You're really trying to, hunt for 6s. It's all right. I don't think it's worth 10 points, maybe 5 points. But hey, that's just, I don't like to be negative here. Just my ideas. That said, their Phoenix Power Spear, which can replace a power weapon on a Command, Champion, or Sergeant subtype for 10 points, is phenomenal. It's pretty much a power sword with +1 initiative, +1 strength, and impact D. So on the charge, love those charge bonuses, you're doing 2 damage with it. And it's breaching 6-up, which is why it's kind of in line with a power sword. Crazy. Great initiative, and then if you're playing the Legion Astartes version, you're getting it further on the charge, +1 initiative to that. Still hitting with a charge attack, still hitting on, or initiative bonus with it still strikes at AP 3 with breaching. I think it's solid. Finally, their upgrade is for a Tartarus Centurion model only that has the Emperor's Children in a prime slot. You replace their combi bolter and power weapon with a Phoenix Sphere for free. Nice 10-point bonus. And then you also gain the Skill Unmatched rule. On Skill Unmatched is something that their Phoenix Terminators have, which I'll get into in one split second. Pretty much when you go into a fight phase, you decide if you're going to have +1 to your weapon skill for attacking or +1 to your weapon skill for defending. So it's not actually a +1, but it counts as +1 for one of those. You either do the perfect strike or the perfect defense. pretty cool. Is it better than just +1 weapon skill total? I'm not sure, but I think that getting the Phoenix Sphere for free is pretty cool. So I think it kind of balances out not having Paragon of Battle on there, because that's kind of what it's going up against. The special units that they have 3 of them, and they are all crazy. Also a ton of characters, which I think is fitting for the Emperor's Children. Lots of, like, from the book Fulgrim I was talking about, has lots of compelling characters, and all of them are in this book, which is cool. Commander Eidolon, Captain Lucius the Eternal, we all know him, and Saul Tarvitz, who's actually Loyalist, and also just a G. Yeah, pretty cool on the characters. Well, like I said, Season 2, when we go into the Primarchs, we'll start including some characters into the lists, and I'll start breaking them down a little bit more in depth. But let's go into the first and foremost of the, not foremost, but the first that we've got of the special units is the Phoenix Terminator Squad. Phoenix Terminators are in Tartaros armor with weapon skill, they've got that weapon skill 5, which is phenomenal. They only have 2 attacks and 3 on the champion, which is like, it's okay with, they got those Phoenix Spears, which are hitting really hard and possibly damage 2 on the charge and things like that. But you know, I feel like they could add 3 attacks, as Emperor's Children are so fast. That said, they're only 35 points per model, and they have that skill and matched rule, where they can count as weapon skill 6, either in the strike or the defense. So, definitely some play. I think that they are, yeah, I think they're powerful. The Phoenix Spear is a good weapon, and having it across the board on all your Tartaros Terminators, I think is really good. They are a retinue slot. Up next is the Palatine Blades, which are a elite slot. They're kind of like a command squad. They don't count as a retinue, but they have like a command squad stat line with weapon skill 5, 2 wounds, 3 attacks, and a 2-up save. So they're all in that Artificer armor. They have Vanguard 3 as well built in, which is pretty solid, and they all use Palatine Blades, which are pretty much at initiative power axes with +1 to their strength, AP 3, 1 damage, and breaching 5 up. And then the kickers, they also have duelist edge. So the champion is, the sergeant's a champion, so he can take advantage of that in challenges, which is a pretty cool unit in general. Good weapon skill, great weapon, you know, hitting at strength 5 with breaching 5 up is phenomenal, and striking at initiative with that, so not at -1 like Power X would be. Boom, great unit. Finally, the Cacophony, the Sonic, you know, Sonic Marines as we know, Noise Marines as we know them, are pretty cool. They have, they're a little bit pricey, 25 points a guy. They have just a bog standard regular stats with weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, 1 wound, 3-up save. They have really good leadership though. They have leadership 9 and 10 on the champ, with 9 cool on the champ and 8 cool on the regular guys. So just, I'd say that's, you know, from their exposure to the warp, they're a little chaosy and they're a little harder to break, you know. But the big singer on them is their weapon, the Cacophony. 36-inch range, 3 shots per, at strength 6 with AP 5. It does have overload 1, but also stun 2 and critical hit 6s. So if you roll 6s to hit, you auto wound at 2 damage. I see these forcing tons of saves, you know, 3 shots a guy. It's almost like a Volkite weapon with stun built in. And then of course overload, so you can't hit yourself. I believe you can also status effect yourself, so careful on those, I guess. But at the same time, you've got crazy good cool. So, you know, you're going to be taking that stun 2 on a 7. Maybe better if you got a character in there. You know, maybe I'm wrong on that one. Let me know in the comments. But I'm pretty sure you can never take a status effect from a reaction. But I think if you overload and hit yourselves with something with a status effect, I think you still count as having been wounded by that. And so in the effects subphase would have to. But let me know if I'm wrong. Still, awesome unit. Crazy good fire. You know, you're looking for 6s, really don't want 1s to hit. But pretty fun weapon, I think, overall. I've got like 16 or 18 Noise Marines myself, so like I have a lot of them in my my personal list, which I'll post, but I won't go over. So let's jump into the list itself. All right. Like I said, I went heavy on Saturnine, and I'm going to start just breaking down the whole Crusade detachment with the characters that we've got, and then I'll go into all the other detachments that I've bought. So first up, I've got a Praetor in Saturnine armor. You know, one of the most powerful units in the game, I think. Weapon skill 6, toughness 6. A little slow, but your Emperor's Children, so you know. Also, being able to give Saturnine Terminators and Saturnine Praetors a +1 strength and feel no pain 6-up, I think is just kind of gross. Might be abusive, but we'll see how it goes. Well, we won't, because I don't think I'm ever going to build this list. But anyways, we got a Praetor and Saturnine armor. He purchased us the Retinue Apex detachment. Then I've got a Centurion and Terminator armor. It's bought the Tartaros one, and I took the Phoenix Warden to give him a free Phoenix Sphere. And I gave him Sonic Shriekers. I gave Sonic Shriekers to all 3 heroes in this, so that on the charge with their units, they can't be reacted against. Pretty solid. They've got a sweet looking model for him, so I figured why not, And then I also took a Legion Champion with Paragon Blade and Combi Melta and Melta Bombs, just in case he, wants to do some damage to a vehicle. But Legion Champion with the Emperor's Children, just had to be perfect guy, who has to challenge. I took 2 squads of Tactical Marines, one at 12 and one at 11. Then I took 3 Rhinos. Tactical squads will be going in the Rhinos. 1 Rhinos for a Cacophony squad that I've got. But just, you're going to be wanting something to move up the field, take objectives and things like that. These are good, nothing better than tactical squads in Rhinos, and they're fast, Next up, I took a tactical support detachment with 2 squads of 6 Cacophony each. One of them will go in the Rhino, one of them will deploy on the field. Just, can do a lot of stun, can shut down guys, try to shoot guys on objectives so you can stun them is the idea, and just do as much damage as possible with 3 shots of strength 6, which is always good. Critical hits. I took a heavy support detachment, and I took a Saturnine Dread with 2 heavy particle shredders and 2 graviton pulverizers. My headcanon is this is the old Sonic Dreadnought. If I was building this guy, I would go to the 9s with just as maybe throw like the new Emperor's Children Defiler face in there, kit bash the heck out of him and make him look as like crazy and chaosy as possible. And then the 2 graviton pulverizers, I feel like, are the 2 like Sonic weapons that he, the Sonic Dreads don't exist anymore, unfortunately. I think they're like byproducts of the 90s, but I love them. So I've got, my own Sonic Dread. The Apex detachment, the Combat Retinue, I've got 10 Phoenix Terminators, which are going with my Centurion, and I've got 4 Saturnine Terminators going with the Praetor. They are all doing double fists except for the Champion, who has a Saturnine Concussion Hammer. So you got, the Praetor's got a Concussion Hammer, he's got a Concussion Hammer, and then you got double fists. Double fists, the Saturnine Terminator squad, I think, is one of the best units in the game, honestly. It's expensive and pricey, but like Saturnines are, giving weapon skill 5 to Saturnines and an extra attack is like what I feel like everyone wanted. With the dual fists, they go up to 4 attacks, which are strength 6, AP2, damage 3, just a crazy melee unit, which in this case could go up to, push them stupefied up to strength 7 with a 6-up feel no pain. So it seems like a good unit. Next up, for the Champion, bought me a Veterans Cadre, which is a fantastic auxiliary detachment with an Elites, a Retinue, and a heavy transport. I took the Elites of the 10 Palatine Blades. They'll go with the Champion. And then I took a Spartan heavy assault tank so that those Saturnines can go somewhere. I think the Spartan has enough space to fit all 5 Saturnines that I've got in the list. I think actually you could throw 1 more in there if you had the points for it. But yeah, that's the list. Really fast units, fast elite units all over the place. Couple tacticals to take the objectives, and then a crazy crucial Saturnine command squad with a Saturnine Praetor in a Spartan that should be able to fight just about anything, including Primarchs. So there you have it, everybody. That's the list. Thanks for sticking around for the end of this, and I'll post both army lists in the comments of this one today. All right, guys, take care. Excelsior and happy hobbying. Peace.